Hello everyone, this is Kamran and welcome back to my channel. So till now we have worked on different components of React.js. Now we will talk about how to call APIs in React application. When you are going to make an application, there will be a backend and a frontend. So how your frontend will talk to your backend? So it will talk to your backend using APIs. So there will be APIs on the backend which frontend will call and get the data or submit the data from the frontend. So let's say when you have a registration form or a sign up form on your application, so you fill up the form and you hit the submit button. On the submit button, it calls an API on the backend, which in turn store the data in the database or do any stuff on the database in that API. So calling a API from a frontend is a task. So in this video, we are going to talk about how do we call an API in a React.js application using Axios package of npm. So let's begin. So now we are going to hit an API from our one of the React components and we will see the output. So to trigger an API, we will be requiring an Axios package of npm. So Axios is the most popular package used for making an API call in React.js. So let's first install that in our project. So here first we are going to install that npm install axios-s. Meanwhile it is installing, we are going to discuss exactly what we are going to create inside our project. We are going to hit a get API in one of our component in our application and we will display the content which or the data which we get in response of that API on our UI. So let's start our application and go to editor. So here we are going to open our body component and inside that we are going to trigger an API. So to trigger an API, first we are going to add a button to trigger that particular API, adding a label, call the API, and we are going to attach a onClick method inside this and we'll call a function from here, get data. Now we have to define this get data, so we will do that inside this function and constant get data is equals to function, and inside this we are going to make a API call using Axios. So for that first we have to import Axios. So import Axios from Axios package. So you have to keep in mind that you have to define it with an capital A, and this Axios we are going to use inside our function. So once you write Axios dot, you will get multiple options over here. So first we are going to use get. So Axios get will make a get API call to the URL whichever we are going to define. So here we are going to pass a URL. So constant URL is equals to, so I have already copied a demo URL which will return some data to us. So now this axios.get will return a promise. So we will get the data in then. So then and data, we will log the data in the console for now and we will check what exactly we are getting in the data. So first let's try this out and check what data we are getting from this API. So here you can see that we have this body component over here. Inside that we have this button called the API. We will open the console to see the output and we will click on the button to hit the API. So we got the response over here. Inside this we have this object, and inside object we have data which returns actual data. So we have to deal with this. So now what we can do, we can create a variable const user comma update user, and we will keep its default value as an object which will contain three values: id, which will default will be 0, and we will keep a title inside this which will be an empty string, and we will keep a user id which we will keep 0 as well. Now when we are going to get the output or a response from this API, we are going to update this user value, and inside this we are going to pass data dot data because we are getting the actual data into the data key. Now let's try to display this user value on our UI. So we will remove this body text and we will add few divs over here. So div 1 will contain our user.id, and similarly we can display title and user ID as well. Save it and let's see the output on the UI. So here we can see that 0 and 0 has been displayed because this is the default value of the user object. Now we are going to hit the API and we can see the data is updated on the UI. So you get an idea about how to call an API using Axios. The other main thing which you have to keep in mind is that whenever you are going to get the data from the API, you also have to catch the API. So whenever there is an error calling the API or getting error due to any reason, the error will be cached inside this function. And for now, you can just log the error in the console. I hope you get the basic idea about how to call an API or a get API in this video. And also we are going to make a post request in the next video. Till then, keep practicing for the get API, use different demo APIs. I will provide this demo API in the description as well, so you can practice by your own. So if this video helped you to get a basic idea about how to make an get API call through Axios in React.js application, you can hit the like button and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Happy coding guys, see you in the next video.